Hi guys, Charlie here at Woodworks. We're going to talk today about pretty just basics of epoxy working. So what I got here is a 1-to-1 mixture of epoxy. It's very easy to use because it's 1-to-1. A lot of epoxies are 5-to-2, 3-to-1, things like that. But I like this stuff. Now, to start off too, a lot of epoxies you can only pour about within 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch at a time. And it'll usually take about 24 hours to dry or harden. So what we'll start off with too, now I already kind of, for sake of time, I made a dam with my wood cut already. As you can see, it takes a lot of clamping, pressure, everything. I use melamine, white melamine, because it tends not to stick, and you can usually pop your epoxy right off of it by cracking it out. Really want to make sure that it is nice and flat, because the epoxy will tend to sink underneath and float your pieces up. So you really want to have that stuff clamped down and tight onto whatever piece you're making. Measurement, you're going to do length times depth times average width. And so that'll create your cubic inch. And 1 cubic inch equates to about 0.55 fluid ounces. So whatever you come up with, with this piece I came up to about 16 fluid ounces. So you would multiply whatever inch you come up with, and then divide it by 0.55, and that's how many ounces you would come up with. So I got this. So what I'm going to do, I chose a copper color to pour in here just for the sake of demonstration. So this cup here, so we need 16 ounces, so I'm going to pour up to 8 in the resin. And what's always good too is to mix your powder, pigment, or dye into the resin first. It just gives you more work time, because once you pour the hardener in, it's going to start that chemical reaction immediately. And this stuff goes a long way, so you do not need a lot of it. So I'll just throw some in there. Random stick, works for everything. So you just want to make sure to stir that nice and good. All right. So we got about 8 ounces. I'm going to add the hardener. We'll go right up to an even amount. And what you really want to do is stir slow and really work the edges in and kind of dig in it too. Because you really want to make sure that stirs in well, because if you don't get that mixture right, it's never going to harden correctly. So that should be about good. So I'm going to go ahead and pour, and what you want to do is pour pretty slow too, or else you'll create a lot more bubbles. And this stuff most epoxies are self-leveling as well. So definitely make sure you want a level surface. So you always want to pour a little bit extra too, make it almost like a dome over top, because epoxy, once it hardens and cures, it tends to shrink. So you always want to have it kind of over whatever piece you're working on. And typically I would wait about 15 minutes, you got about 30 minutes of working time once you mix those together to pop out any bubbles or anything like that. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. You can use a heat gun or a blowtorch, either one. If you're doing a heat gun, you want to leave it on a low setting though, because if you blow it too hard or for too long, it's going to mess up that chemical reaction and it'll never harden correctly. But once you do that, just like that. Just want to lightly go over it and it's done. Now, this doesn't seem to be too level on this table, but like I said, for sake of time and purpose, that's basically the gist of quick epoxy work.